Okay, stop, hold the phone. Before we get any further into this, I just want to say this contains major spoilers for Avengers Endgame. It's a phenomenal film, and I don't want to ruin the experience for anyone, so go watch it before you watch this video. Okay? So, time travel. Always makes things messy when you're dealing with films. Endgame did a pretty good job of dealing with it. Kind of. So, I've got a few major things that are bones to pick about their timeline stuff. Basically, in a nutshell, what they've kind of sort of done, in my opinion, is created an alternate universe timeline, an AU timeline. So, starting from the end of Avengers, going partway into Thor Dark World, somewhere around there, the timelines split, and you get two different series of events. That's the implication. And that's how they kind of treat it in the film. And if it were only that, I'd be happy to accept it. That's fine, I'm totally down for that. Except they haven't fully thought this through, because basically one scene renders that whole point moot, that's the word, moot. And that is the ending with Cap. Because he's an old man in that timeline. The same timeline where Thanos won, and the Time Stones had to be retrieved from the other timeline and brought back, and he went back to return the Time Stones, which, side note, how the heck did Cap return some of those Time Stones? Not the Time Stones, just the Infinity Stones. Because, like, the Time Stone he could do, the Tesseract he could do, the Staff he could do, but the Purple Stone and the Soul Stone and the Ether, how on earth did he return those? Just how? I don't see how it's possible. But that's a whole other side story that I'm not going to get into right now, because my main focus is what happened before that point. I'll get to that later, that whole time stream that it's rendered moot later. Because the whole implications of what happened is what they haven't, I guess. Okay, because what they've done is create a universe where they can basically backtrack to the end of Avengers, the start of Dark World, and say, everything that's happened after this point is no longer canon. This is this new timeline that we've created, where they took the stones from and then returned them. Except there's kind of a few issues with that. First and foremost, in Thor the Dark World, like, even assuming Cap was able to get the ether back, which there's no guarantee of, how on earth would Thor, in that timeline, in that version of Thor, how on earth would he protect Jane and protect Earth from the Dark Elves? Because he couldn't. Because Thor took his hammer and they didn't bring the hammer back. So Thor doesn't have his hammer for Dark World, Ultron, none of that. The other thing... Okay, so yeah. So that's that whole rant. Kind of. This is not the end. But... Oh no, hold on. I'm not done with that part of the rant. I forgot about one other thing. Thanos is from that time period as well. He's from the Dark World? Roughly. Like, he's... I don't remember which one comes first chronologically. Guardians of the Galaxy or Dark World. Basically, he's from somewhere in that range, that Thanos, and he's dead. Which would effectively mean none of Infinity War would happen as well. But... Oh, and there's also the implications of one of Cap's lines, where he said, "Hail Hydra," to the whatever guy from Winter Soldier who died getting thrown across the highway. Sitwell? Agent Sitwell, I believe his name is. And that was before Winter Soldier. So all I gotta say is, if he's revealed that he knows that they're Hydra, and they think that he's the real Cap, and not... Because they think he's the real Cap. Real Cap doesn't know that they're Hydra, but they think that he does. So the whole thing, basically Winter Soldier and Civil War, aren't going to go down the same way they're going to go down. They're just not. Because that's not how they handle that scenario anymore because they think they've been found out, right? Which kind of, yeah, basically that whole thing is just a mess. And as I mentioned earlier, it's all moot because Cap went back in time to before all of that and stayed in the 1940s, right? Now, in this timeline, there are now two Caps, right? There's the one that's frozen and the one from the future, which is whatever, that's fine. Except I don't think much of the rest of the Avengers would even happen, because Cap knows that Hydra is trying to infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is the early beginnings of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's not going to let that happen. So Hydra's never going to get a foothold in S.H.I.E.L.D. Chances are pretty high he's going to go after, like, I have things to say about this too, because I've got a whole other little sub-rant to go on about this, and I'll do that at the end of this video, about Bucky and Cap. I do not believe for 1 second that Cap would not go rescue Bucky if he were back in the 1940s. I do not believe for 1 second, because he knows Bucky's alive. I don't believe for 1 second he would leave him in Hydra's hands for 50 years and let him become the Winter Soldier, which again throws a whole monkey wrench in the Winter Soldier film and Civil War and all of that. Okay, so there's that whole issue, and all of that would happen. And if that were an alternate universe, it'd be fine. Except because Cap is there at the end of the film, right after Tony's funeral, which means everything did happen, meaning it's all one collective timeline, there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't add up. Because in this timeline where they took the stones, which they're saying is the same timeline, even though it definitely can't be, Thanos died a long time ago. Loki escaped before Dark World. The ether is gone from Jane's body before Dark World. Thor loses his hammer in Dark World and can't defend Earth from the Dark Elves. Like, Ultron's not created. Chances are the twins probably aren't created. Vision's not created. There's just... And then, there's the whole there's no Winter Soldier. Captain America's an old man. That's just a whole slew of messy consequences in that timeline. And it's all because Cap shows back up at the end of that. Because it's just... Oh, it frustrates me. It frustrates me a lot. And I had to get this out, because it's been going through my brain ever since I watched the film, and I wanted to say it. Now maybe I'm forgetting something, maybe I missed something, I've only seen the film once. But, yeah. Okay. That's my rant on the time travel in that film, because it's just ridiculous. Because there's that. That's my major bone to pick with the film. Second one is... how the heck did Cap get those stones back, the outer space stones back? And my last point, and this is more than just me being sad that Stucky isn't a thing, because I do ship them. But like, I'm not one of those people that gets really upset about it. Like, I get that it's not canon, and that's fine. But at the same time, Cap going back in time and staying with Peggy bugs me. It bugs me so much, and more than in just a timeline sense, because of Bucky. Because basically, by doing that, by going back and living the life he would have lived, he's dooming his best friend, okay? His best friend who was kidnapped during World War II, lost his arm, brainwashed and tortured for 50 years as an assassin, only very recently managed to get his memory back. They've barely spent any time together since that point. And the only person in that modern time that Bucky could even remotely relate to and consider a friend is Steve. Is Cap. And then Cap essentially has abandoned him. He goes back in time and lives his happy life, and now Bucky's stuck living on his own. And not only that, Cap didn't even give him the darn shield. Like, are you kidding me? It frustrates me. And it's, like I said, maybe it's just because I ship them, maybe it's just because Bucky is my favorite character, I don't know. But oh my god, that made me mad. Oh my god. Because it's ridiculous. Like, if he'd taken Bucky with him, that would have been fine. But unless he saves Bucky in the past, which would have had a whole slew of other messy consequences, like I said, it's just, it doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't work, and it doesn't seem like something he'd do. Okay? That's my rant on the Avengers Endgame, specifically. I guess post in the comments if any of you guys have seen it and noticed this stuff, or if you guys have any counters to them. I love debating this kind of stuff, so let me know. Maybe there's something I missed, maybe there's something I forgot, I don't know. But let me know down in the comments. And thanks for listening to me rant about Avengers. If you guys like this, maybe I'll do some more like this, because I am a film major, I love movies, and I watch quite a lot of them, so let me know.